percentage of homeless people within our city stays at current levels, do you feel the number of hotel rooms within District 26 used to house the homeless should be increased, reduced, or maintained at current levels?
Well, I'm not a fan of warehousing people in hotels, number one. I think what you do is you address the root cause of homelessness within each individual, and you target a program where you can take care of them in a humane fashion. Some people need long-term care, institutionalized, and we've got to get back to doing what's right for everyone. Warehousing people in hotels is wrong.
I actually think it needs to be reduced, and we need to address the real systemic rooted issues, which are mental health, right? Which are not dropping off busloads of people in the middle of the night near our Queensbridge housing resident districts, right? I think we need to address systemic issues that really relate to expanding the opportunity for those who are on the edge of becoming homeless.
I believe that we need to maintain it while looking for solutions such as permanent supportive housing for people who are currently homeless.
I think that we should not have homeless shelters. I think we should house everyone in permanent shelters. So I think we should reduce. I think it's a failure of policy to have homeless people. I think they should all have permanent housing, so reduce for sure.
I don't like us using hotel rooms to house the homeless as a permanent solution at all. I think we need to move away from simply providing our homeless population with a bed and a roof, and instead move towards a supportive housing model that's semi-permanent and actually provides stability and services to hopefully help people get to the point where they can live independently.
Should be decreased.
Should be decreased.
Reduced. Now, there's a lot of empty housing apartments in all of New York City. There's a list that I could even email to everyone. We need to make sure all those houses are fully capacity. And I also believe families should not stay in hotel because these families don't have a home. And that's where my issue is with when you have a child, they're living in the two-bed, queen-size bed, and I don't agree with that. I think those children should have their own apartment so they could fill with the community. And it's very expensive, also for the city, and what they're doing right now, we need to make sure we allocate all these people into correct homes, and then if we have to increase, we increase hotels. But first, we have to see what I have as inventory, again.
Reduce completely. And how about we are spending $1.6 billion on the current budget to the homeless people. That's mean $20,000 per homeless person. And we are spending all this money to the renting hotel. Instead of we can give them voucher so they can disperse and go different location to find an apartment and live by themselves. When they hang out together, it creates a problem for the neighborhood, and we need to stop it.
So my father was a homeless New Yorker. He was a Vietnam veteran with PTSD who died here as a homeless New Yorker. I want to be a city council member who makes sure that we are actually improving and perfecting our homeless services. There's no silver bullet. There's no one thing we need to do. A lot of different homeless people and homeless families have very different needs. I want to make sure we build more supportive housing. I want to make sure we have more affordable housing. I would support new full-service homeless shelters even in my neighborhood. Across the street from me, that'd be a much better use than that open pit. I don't think hotels are the answer. I think they are an emergency solution that the city has taken up, and I'd like to see us move towards more permanent solutions.
I'm against acting as if hotels are a meaningful substitute for housing. We spend 5 times as much on putting people in hotels as we do on all public housing, all 600,000 New Yorkers in public housing. It's kind of a ridiculous system. I want to get roofs over people's heads.
I think it should be reduced. Number one, I back Andrew Hevesey's program, which says giving people vouchers to keep them in their homes. They have actually stronger support networks in their neighborhood, and it costs less than putting them in the shelter system. I'm against turning hotels into homeless shelters because they don't actually have the facilities that these people need. There's no job training, there's no mental health facilities, there's no drug counseling. I think what they're doing is warehousing these people, and it's not giving them the services they need.
So I think when it comes to the unhoused community, we're in the midst of an eviction crisis, and it's only going to get worse. especially due to COVID-19. It's only inflamed what has been happening in our city, and what we really need is supportive housing. Because as someone who has personally dealt in the past with housing insecurity, it's so important that we have supportive housing so that people can transition into permanent housing. And we need to make sure there's affordable housing available, as well as plans for holistic restorative justice for them all. So there's mental health help, as well as resources for addiction, as well as upskilling and education opportunities, vocational training for jobs, so that they can recover their jobs and be financially independent.
If it stays the same and the premise is that everything else stays the same, then yes, it stays the same.
Stay the same. Do you
If
feel-
other variables are the same as well.
Yes, understood.